Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and of course we are joined by Tim Picciott, the Liberty Advisor. Here at WAM, we are going to go into the monetary system and the massive amount of spending we're witnessing right now. Obviously, since the impact of the coronavirus has taken hold, we have seen unbelievable amounts of spending and printing, and obviously we were going to be met with this crisis at some point in time, but it's happening a lot faster than it would have happened thanks to this catalyst, not the cause, a catalyst that we call the coronavirus lockdowns that the government is really to blame for at the end of the day. I want to get into this article before we go to Tim that says, out of Market Insider, European stocks surge as EU leaders agree on a shiny $860 billion coronavirus recovery pact. And as the article goes into, global stocks rose on Tuesday as European Union leaders reached a breakthrough agreement on a shiny $860 billion recovery fund. Major continental European indexes surged with the pan-European stocks 50 up 1.5%. Futures tied to the S&P 500 rose 0.7%, following tech stocks leading the market higher on Monday. And Bank of America analysts said the EU fund does not move the needle enough for the macro given the size of the shock. And we are going to go into all of this and more. But first, make sure to hit the like button, share this on social media to get around the shadow banning, and join us on Flote.app, BitChute, Minds, and LBRY, and get off of YouTube as soon as you can. We are leaving by November 5th of 2020, only posting trailers after that point. Also, join our new newsletter at www.imband.com and look at the links below for ways that you can fund us, as we are 100% viewer funded. Now, Tim, let's go into this a little bit. Obviously, you are a certified financial planner, and I mean, in Europe, we are seeing this massive amount of spending being unleashed, and we're going to go into the United States shortly in a moment as well, where there's obviously going to be no shortage of spending. But I want to go into this first. What do you think about this $860 billion coronavirus recovery plan?
Well, first, when I hear $860 billion, it reminds me of in 2008 when Nancy Pelosi, someone asked her, how come the TARP bill was around that amount. It was around like $800 billion. Like, well, how did you come up with a number? And literally the answer in Congress floor was, we just needed a really, really big number. And it sort of like reminds me that that's probably what they did. And then the last statement that the gentleman made was, or maybe he's not a gentleman, probably some banker jerk. But anyways, the last person who made that comment that said, hey, the $860 billion is not enough to move the needle in the EU, well, we don't know if that might then be levered, because what they were doing in America was the Federal Reserve had different, not that that's part of America, but the Federal Reserve was having different credit facilities, so they were able to get around buying bonds by having these facilities that they had, but those facilities were buying it levered 10-to-1 on investment grade bonds, 7-to-1 on junk bonds. So who knows? Maybe at the EU could be levering that, further, going from $860 billion to turn that into multi-trillion. I know that there's now new talks, and we're probably going to get into another article where now in America they're calling for an extra $1 trillion. It's funny, funny how we need $1 trillion. Seems like a very nice round number. The other thing is, I mean, you have the Treasury balance is at like all-time record highs right now. It's like 1.8 trillion because of all these bonds, and there's no way Donald Trump is going to leave $1.8 trillion of dry powder for sleepy Joe Biden to get in there and use it to make the Democrats look good. I know not a popular thing for me to say, but and it wasn't popular when I said that Trump was going to win in 2015. I think that he was in trouble before the coronavirus. I think he's in super big trouble at this point, so they're going to throw everything at this to try to get the stock market higher. I mean, everything is about this perception, and so if we perceive that the economy is doing great, well, what's the economy? Well, the economy to the people running things is the stock market, even though those are not synonymous terms, and most people watching this and most people at home are not really that affected by the stock market, like in their actual account balances. I mean, maybe 10% of Americans have enough money in the stock market to really matter. So it's not really a winning issue in my opinion, but historically there's been more of a connection between the economy and the stock market, and now we're back in this dichotomy where bad news is good news. But now the real question you have to ask yourself is, are we getting too much, and I'll say this in air quotes here, too much good news in terms of the stock market going up, that maybe they're probably October surprise, maybe the Fed's going to announce that they're going to stop buying bonds, or they're going to slow it down, or there's going to be some sort of credit contraction, which will then make the stock market go down, which will then put in sleepy Joe Biden. So that would be on my guess. Again, this is all speculation, and I'm sure I'll hear it in the comments about how I'm wrong on this. But yeah, it's sort of crazy.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. Thinking about like Europe, the EU, I'm just thinking of how places like Greece are going to react to this, because they've been in a terrible situation for many years, thanks in great part to the EU, to the massive spending, to the amounts of debt that's laid on their shoulders. And then on top of all of that, then you have coronavirus, the lockdowns. They lose their entire tourism industry for months and months at a time, which they're dependent on. And now they're spending more money, and it's a lot of these countries that are going to be seeing the butt end of this. And you mentioned, the combination of the stock market and the economy, and how the stock market doesn't usually affect the average person as much as, so maybe the dollar does. But I wanted to pull that together for a moment. I mean, thinking about how much money is being pumped into the stock market right now, and obviously it's leading to deflation at the moment. People keep saying it's a strong dollar and they have a win-win. Stock market's going up and the dollar is getting stronger. Meanwhile, eventually that does affect people, because that currency is going to leave the stock market at some point and reach people's hands. And once it reaches people's hands, we're dealing with a bunch of inflation. So, I mean, how is that going to affect?
You're seeing RV prices inflating right now. Actually, it's like you're seeing like a massive increase in RVs, because everyone's either maybe they've lost their jobs and now this is a way to secure their own future, or it's a way to get off grid, or it's just a way to get out of the cities because they're trapped into here. But it's weird that the areas, I guess it's not that weird, but it's just interesting seeing the areas where you are seeing certain types of inflation. I'm trying to hold back a sneeze so I can maybe do a coronavirus, but it's really is the fact that we're in this situation now where, I mean, it's just such a surreal experience. And really, I mean, it's going to be something where we take a look back on this a few years from now, and just people are going to be looking at these times on many different levels in bewilderment, especially on the financial front, especially on the freedoms front. I mean, that's why, I mean, I made this Make America Free Again shirt 4 years ago, because to me, freedom, what was great about America was the freedom, not that, it's just some slogan. And unfortunately, one thing I'd like to phrase I coined was FINOs, and that's people that believe in freedom in name only. They want to talk about how free they are. But, and you see the freest places, tying this back to the economy, the freest places are also the best economies in the world. So I mean, it's places like Singapore. So there is a big link between freedom. It's not about how much fake money you're pumping in, because all that is artificial. Eventually, you're just making, not eventually, you're already making the problem worse. You're getting people's hopes built up on the wrong stuff. You're getting people who are in record numbers, like buying home, maybe not record numbers, but in huge record number, or not record. People are buying homes right now. Yeah. When to me, that's got to be the craziest thing, when we're looking at like a third of Americans not being able to make their mortgage payments. Then you're probably going to see different things going on with rent too. And so it's just crazy. We got people who can't make their mortgage payments, yet people are also now scrambling to buy mortgages because they're at all-time low mortgage rates. And so it's just, to me, it's crazy. I think we were under 3 briefly. I think we were like 2.92 at one point last week. And so,
and then we're dealing with a massive amounts of deference on mortgages across the board, and we'll see untold amounts of people homeless because of that. The recent studies show about 28 million people will be homeless after the moratoriums are released in September. Obviously, most of those people will be part of a massive relief program, and there comes more spending. I'm sure that'll work out just great. And I want to mention this Fox News article, as it says, McConnell says economy needs another shot of adrenaline, backs additional round of stimulus checks, and it says the Trump administration is pushing a package with a price tag of $1 trillion, which you mentioned earlier. And I have to ask, Tim, with all this printing, with all this spending, how in any way can this possibly save the inevitable from happening, or is it just making it worse long term?
I mean, all the politicians care about is getting reelected again. So they're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at the next few months, because the next few months, determines what, criminal organizations going to be running, this multi-trillion-dollar economy that they get to give, bribes and payoffs to all their friends. And now, now these new programs that they have are even larger than all the tax receipts they collect. So I think, what we had, a $3 trillion stimulus, and then we only collect, $3 trillion in taxes. I'm saying we. And so right there, I mean, you get, $6 trillion at the trough to go divide out to your friends. And so this is going to be an all-out frenzy on both of the fake left-right paradigm to get in control of these resources. And what was the question again?
Well, I mean, is this actually going to do anything positive at all long-term, or is this just going to lead to a bigger problem long-term, all this spending, all this printing?
Well, it depends what we're talking about. So, I mean, one of the positives, I guess, now you're getting seeing people pulled out of the indoctrination system, pulled out of the school system, and now you got some people that are scared of coronavirus. You got other people who just don't want to have their kids indoctrinated. So, I think that's a very good thing. You're getting people who are talking about homesteading and talking about building voluntary societies, even outside of this crowd and outside of people even watching this. The people you wouldn't expect it from are talking about this now. You're seeing other people waking up to what's going on, but then you're also seeing a massive amount of people asleep to this as well. But it's made it easier to discern of who I want to talk to and don't want to talk to, because it usually depends on if they've got a mask or don't have a mask, and it makes it very easy for me, it makes it very easy for you, and but it's also sad seeing what's going on too. So ultimately, get back to your question, it's going to make it worse from a financial aspect, but like any good crisis, there's also going to be opportunity, which is why the Chinese symbol for crisis and opportunity is the same symbol. And so out of this, there's going to be, like, we're seeing silver. I mean, it's like 2150. I think you got some big interviews coming up soon on silver. You're seeing Bitcoin, basically holding the line at 9,000. Hopefully it's around 9,000. I didn't check today, but it's been stuck there for 2-3 months, which and to me is a good sign of there's a lot of support. Not to say that not financial advice. Right now it's sort of neutral on that price, but yeah, long term, I mean, there's a lot of good things coming out of this and a lot of bad things. But from the economic perspective, I think unfortunately it's setting a lot of bad precedent to that. Every time there's a hiccup in the economy, that why does the world's greatest economy in the history of the world need all this massive record, stimulus? And the other thing that really kind of pisses me off is that everyone thinks that everything would have been great had it not been for the coronavirus, when there was a huge, all these different, things were bubbling at the surface, when my Anarcho-Poker presentation was literally on, hey, we're one black swan away from all these different things happening.
Yeah, well, that's why I mentioned like catalyst versus cause, because people mix up the cause and the catalyst, and obviously the coronavirus didn't help anything, and definitely it made more people aware of how weak the system really was. However, obviously this was going to happen anyway. I mean, the recession never ended in 2008. It was just pushed off, printed over, and
it's like you're 700 pounds drinking Mountain Dew every day. I mean, I do like to drink some Mountain Dew, so no offense to all the
offense to 700-pound Mountain Dew drink.
No offense to the 700-pound Mountain Dew people watching this right now, but you're out there and drinking all these sugary drinks and overweight, haven't worked out a day in your life, and then people are like, oh, and he died of coronavirus, and maybe that's a catalyst, but you were living an unhealthy lifestyle to begin with, and it's just everyone attacking symptoms and not the root cause of anything. And until people are willing to rip off the Band-Aid and willing to do something where it hurts and you take some short-term pain, we're never going to so it's like we're adding and this is actually a quote from the former Dallas Fed president Richard Fisher, who said, this is maybe 4 or 5 years ago on CNBC. Unfortunately, we can't play it because of fair use type stuff that at YouTube, which is another reason to get off YouTube and go on things like Flote. But when you're seeing and what he said was, he goes, the economy was being supported by heroin and cocaine, and now it's being maintained on Ritalin. This is 4 years ago. Well, now it's being maintained on like fentanyl, and eventually you take enough fentanyl or meth or something, you're going to kill yourself. And so we're in that situation where we're straddling this line where we're already way over the line. There's no way, because of just how money is debt, if things start breaking down, you're going to have to print more and more, which then gets you deeper and deeper into debt, which then means you need to make even bigger ones, which eventually the whole thing is going to implode. That's why I'm a fan of Bitcoin. That's why I'm a fan of silver. That's why I'm a fan of gold, fan of being diversified, having a plan in general. And you guys can see the links below for thelibertyadvisor.com. If you are interested in getting ahead of this, because you don't want to be left holding the bag of worked hard my entire life, 65 years old, whoop, there it's gone now. And unfortunately, that's not here to promote myself, but at the same time, I'd rather help you out before and not after you've already lost everything. And then at that point we're performing miracle work. But
right. Well, and this is nothing short of monetary terrorism. What we've witnessed over the last century alone is Osama bin Bernanke. Yeah, what we've seen over the last century. I mean, and they've been wrong about everything. The fact that anyone even listens to these central bankers anymore, especially, and now they're trying to unroll the cashless society, as we recently reported on as well. But you have people like Ben Bernanke saying right before the recession that everything was fine. We have people like Janet Yellen saying there will be no crisis in her lifetime. We have people like Jerome Powell saying interest rates will stay the same all throughout 2020. And people might say, oh, well, he didn't know the coronavirus would hit. Well, maybe he did, but I don't know. But one thing I do know is that he could not have honestly thought last December that in all of 2020 interest rates would stay the same, with everything that they were already up against. We've been dealing with this for years, and we've predicted it down almost to the detail going back to 2014 at World Alternative Media. So it's just it bothers me that we are a bunch of crazy moron conspiracy theorists, and these guys that are at the top of the chain, Paul Krugman's and Ben Bernanke's and Janet Yellen's and Jerome Powell's, that these guys are the heroic truth tellers that know exactly exactly what's going on, and they're the ones that are getting paid insane amounts of money, taxpayer dollars, all that kind of stuff, while they print a bunch of currency, create a new hidden tax of inflation, destroy the economy, destroy the middle class, which is all built up on debt, and basically, at the end of the day, destroy you as individuals because they rip away every opportunity that you might have been able to achieve in your life. And that's why people have to break free from that system and stop.
I'll take in credit if you do happen to break through all that and achieve success, and they'll take the credit of you didn't build that, the government built it.
You didn't build that bridge. Yeah, I built that bridge. Yeah, I know. That's called slavery, guys. And stop having Stockholm syndrome, break free from that slavery, and try to decentralize and find alternative routes to save your money and save your family. And we've been talking about that for years. And being individuals, being independent, being responsible for yourself is a huge step in the right direction versus being dependent and weak, which is exactly where they want you. So the banks are all bankrupt. We're going down this hill very fast, and it's not going to end well. So people like Tim Picciott has thelibertyadvisor.com, where you can become a client. So make sure to check out that below in the links. And of course, we have many things that you guys can check out below. Newsletter, www.imband.com. Join us on flote.app, BitChute, LBRY, Minds. Get off of YouTube as fast as you can. We are leaving by November 5th, only posting trailers after that point. Also, we are completely viewer funded at World Alternative Media, so check those links below for ways that you can pledge as well.
Yeah,
it definitely
stop
helps.
Using Messenger and WhatsApp and all the stuff that's on the man's grid. I mean, doing everything you can to decentralize, just being off the man's grid as much as possible, I think is one of the answers moving forward. I mean, it's not everyone's waiting for some Superman to come in and save the day, but it's all of us doing small things individually that then can turn into a bigger thing as a collective. But we don't need a big collective to then try to beat another collective. Is everyone doing things on their own, death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's what's needed here, not one Superman on a white horse to come in that's probably going to Judas goat you anyway and let you down, or if he wasn't going to, then he's probably going to be taken out. So
well, and I mean, that's the thing though. I mean,
at the coronavirus, when they do get taken out.
At the end of the day, one of the most important things that people can focus on as individuals is money. And the reason why it's taught to be so boring, and people, they use big words that are completely unnecessary and all that kind of stuff to scare people away from actually looking into the monetary system, to actually understanding it. It's actually not as complicated as it seems. However, they do whatever.
We need to make like a glossary. Quantitative easing. It's printing money. It's all this.
Money. Yeah, I know exactly. They that should just be what it's called. But I mean, that's the thing. It's made complicated on purpose, because if you have control over your money, you have control over your own life. If you don't have control over your money, other people who are controlling your money have control over you, and you need to understand that and break free from that as soon as possible, because we are at the bottom of the barrel at this point. I mean, it gets worse than this, trust me, but it doesn't get much worse than this. So far this year, we've just been going in a downward spiral, and the worse it gets, people keep saying the better it's getting, and it's absurd. Everyone just falls into the trap, repeat after me, walks around with their masks, follows a crowd, does whatever they're told, and that's really concerning to me long term, especially when it comes to the monetary system and how powerful that monetary system can be.
Today I saw a girl with a shirt that said punk on it, and then she's wearing a mask. And then last week I saw a girl with an obey shirt wearing a mask. I mean, do you not get the irony in this? Like, you're wearing a punk shirt and then you've got a mask on. Like,
I know. What? Yeah, the punk rockers now are like, trust the establishment, do what they tell you. Eminem's writing songs.
Rage for the machine now.
Yeah, right. I mean, Eminem's writing songs about why you should wear a mask. I mean, like, he's like literally the Doris Day of our time. Anyway, I'm gonna cut it short right there.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
I just called Eminem Doris Day. Yeah. Anyway, B. Arthur. I don't know. Whatever.
You're gonna be on his next hit track. He's gonna have one about Josh Sigurdson.
I hope so. You're successful when Eminem writes terrible songs about you. But anyway, we'll be back to you very soon with much more. Make sure to check those links below. Hit that like button and share on social media. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson with Tim Picciott signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. My friends, it is go time. We are completely demonetized on YouTube, and we depend on the viewer to stay alive and spread the message of freedom and truth. So check those links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, anything you guys could do to help keep independent media alive helps enormously in helping spread this message to the masses. So make sure to check those links. Donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen or below. We really appreciate anything you could do to keep us alive. You could check those links below for Cointree as well, where you can find other cryptocurrencies ways that you can donate and keep WAM alive. Find us on flote.app, flote.app, as well as BitChute and LBRY and Minds. We're on all the other platforms. We are leaving YouTube soon, so make sure to find us at those sites, because it's the only way we can keep talking to you, the masses, the great people that actually care about the future of free humanity. Also, join our new newsletter at www.imband.com. Anything helps at this point, guys. We need to support free information online. This is the most difficult time in our history, and it takes a lot of hard work to keep our message alive in the face of great evils that have taken over the propaganda news on television as well as on YouTube, where YouTube decides what you can or cannot see. We need your help, my friends. So I really appreciate anything you guys can do. Check those links. There's many ways you can help. Until next time, though, thanks, everyone. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.